welcome to Candid Conversations on the blog at 101candidconversations.blogspot.com, and of course here on YouTube. And this morning I'm joined in the Zoom chat with the one and only DC Glenn. I'm sure you remember the song Whoomp, There It Is. Well, we have him today with us to talk about that adventure and, of course, what he's been up to lately. So, DC, thanks for dropping in this morning. I really appreciate that.
Hey man, I appreciate being here. Thank you.
Not a problem. So, one of the things I wanted to get into here is that you are part of something known as old school rap. Can you tell me a little bit of what that means? What is old school rap?
Old school rap or old school hip hop um, is a distinction afforded to people who kind of grew up in the 80s and the 90s and had a music genre that was evolving around them and around their lives. And I was a part of that generation. And um, that was at the beginning of hip hop. And it was just a fun time because we were making music and making songs and didn't even know what we were a part of. We were just having fun as kids, right?
Right.
And um, I think in high school, I went to Mayo High School in Denver, Colorado.
Mhm.
And the first time I went to a high school party at a new high school I went to in 11th grade, I saw a DJ with two turntables and two turntables, a microphone, and a mixer. And I'd never seen that before.
Right.
And that's where I met Steve, and he had a band that played in the quad sometimes during lunchtime.
Mhm.
And I was like, I got to be in that band. And I also had a knack to sing.
Mhm.
And I joined the Boat Vibration Choir, which was led by Dr. Joyce Davis, which is just an esteemed organization because they went all over the city, singing music.
Right.
And I became masterful at all three, even in high school, because that's what I wanted to do. And my father was musically inclined, and he was like, "Boy, you're gonna learn how to play an instrument." So I was forced to play instrument when I was 12, and I was forced to play piano when I was about the same age by my mother. But those didn't stick, but the hip hop stuck. It was a new form of, it was a
That's
new form
funny.
of music. And later on in life, my father's like, I didn't pay all that money for you to go to college so you to be no rapper. And I was like, hey man, you wanted me to be in music. I'm just following your wishes.
Right.
So I get to college and I am a DJ in college. And what separated me and has always separated me as a DJ from other DJs is that I used to order my records from all over the country.
Mhm.
So I used to order from 12-inch dance records in DC, other record stores in New York, record stores in LA, San Francisco, all over the country. So I grew up through hip hop music, and I grew up through the stories that MCs told on record, right? So I was kind of like me being a DJ back then, I was kind of like a blogger. Just every record is a story.
Right.
And every Friday we would throw parties in the dining commons. And I would go to Tower Records like on that Thursday, Friday, get the newest records, wait for my records to come in and then play them on that weekend. So my influences were wide ranging. And, you know, my boy Johnny Z, who was producer for a group called In Too Deep, he got a 4-track, I think our
Right.
sophomore year.
Mhm.
And he was in the heavy metal. I was, I'm doing my thing, but I taught him how to DJ, taught him about rap. He taught me about heavy metal. He got a 4-track. He's like, I don't know how to use this thing. I was like, I'll figure it out. And basically a 4-track is the equivalent of GarageBand today. It was a box that you could put a cassette in and you have 4 tracks to make music and 4 tracks to lay down whatever you want to lay down. And you could turn it into more tracks if you spliced it and just made each side analog, mono. But that's another story. But I got good at using that. I made about 10 songs. My boy had an 808 and he let me come over and just make a bunch of beats. And I did everything I could, used every creative bone in my body, beat on pots and pans, played the flute, whatever, just to make a song. And I made 10 of them.
Mhm.
And And that's when it really, really started. Because we were making songs, but we'd had to go to the studio. We were under time restraints, money restraints as young kids. You know, this 18, 19, 20. And I became very good at making songs, at DJing in college. I DJed all the frat parties. And that was my evolution. And to be a part of that in the beginning and to be able to tell these stories is, you know, one of my life's honors. You know what I mean? And I finished up college and I knew there was nothing for me in Sacramento. I went to Sac State University. So I took a chance to move to Atlanta. And Steve was already in Atlanta. I was like, I'll be down there. I'm gonna move all my stuff down there. And I was petrified because I didn't know what I was gonna do, but I just took a leap of faith because I knew it was the right thing to do. And I'll never forget it because the week that I moved down there, we went to see it was the premiere of Do the Right Thing by Spike Lee.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And after that, we went to a club called Magic City, which is a strip club. And the DJ was just, I wasn't even thinking about DJ in Atlanta. The DJ was kind of bad. And I was like, wait a minute, I could DJ in the summer and then go to work in the fall.
Right.
And I saw the owner and I was like, hey man, you need a DJ? And he was like, nah, but come see me Monday. And I went and saw him on Monday. And he's like, I don't need no DJ, but I need a cook. I said, cool. He said, you be cooking, you be backup DJ. It's like, all right, cool. I cooked 2 orders of chicken wings and a salad. And the daytime DJ was like, hey man, I gotta run some errands. You want a DJ? I was like, cool. And they shouldn't have done that because I took over. And the girls fell in love.
That was it for him, wasn't it?
No, I mean, he still worked it, but it just, they put me on. I was the head DJ after that because they had a meeting that weekend with all the girls, and the girls was like, we want him.
Yeah.
And, you know, Magic was like, all right, you up. And I've been the head DJ at every club I've been at all my life. And, you know, that is a testament to how I do things because I'm not just a DJ. I'm your sound guy. I'm your light guy. I do your, you know, voiceover ads for the radio. I do your television commercials. I do your video. I do your fast photography for the girls so I can get them in the magazine so I can blow the club up. I do all your marketing. You have to hire 10 people to do the job of, you know, do the job of me, right? And that has served me well. And, you know, over time, we got down to Atlanta. We kept making music, but we were hip hop. And down south is booty shake music, bass music, Luke, MC Shadi, records like that, right? And I knew that we had to have an up-tempo record to break out of the Southeast. And our first attempt was Whoomp, There It Is.
That's where that came in, right?
Yeah, that's where that came in. And people think it was this big science project. And, you know, it was, we just put a lot of thought into it. And people think it was just a formula. And it was nothing of the such. It was just basically the premise of every genre of music when it comes to hit songs. You know, the premise is guys on Friday night drinking, chasing women.
Friday night drinking, chasing women,
having a good time.
And old school rap.
Yeah, old school rap. But then,
and
but that's the premise. Right? Think about it. That's the premise of every country song, of every R&B song, of every blues song, of every rock and roll song. It's all about money, girls, and in the fame. So it was nothing different. And you know, that it was August 92 that night, you know, I went and I had to work and I dropped that cassette in. And to this day, when I drop Whoomp, There It Is, there's never been a record that has had the response of that record as a DJ. I've been DJing for 30 years. And it, you know, it was, you know, my hubris as a young man, I was like, well, every record I make is going to be the bomb. Right. But I kind of shelved it. And one of the girls was like, how come you don't play Whoomp, There It Is anymore? I was like, I'll play it. Played it again. Same thing happened. And I was like, I got something. So a record company rep was in the house, Alan Cole, and from Columbia Records. And this is a testament to just me being in that era and just me being a popular person, me being tenacious, that I had relationships with all the record company reps because they bought me all my records. That
Right.
stems from me getting all my records from everywhere all over the country. It was more about getting the records, because when you have the records and you can break records, the crowd trusts you. So therefore, you always are going to be a good DJ, because they can't wait to see what you're going to play next, because you know how to play it, know how to mix it in, know how to do all these things.
Hmm.
These things come from old school rap. These things from me growing up old school rap. These things come from me being immersed in a culture where there was only one question: can you
Hmm.
rock a party? Can you move a crowd? And that's how I've lived my whole life. So Alan Cole takes it to Columbia Records, and all of a sudden I'm getting called from Columbia Records. We like the record. And then I'm like, this will work for every label. Send it to all the labels. Now everybody's calling me and we're talking, but everybody's playing because they don't know what to do with it, because back in the day it was just New York and LA.
Right.
But I almost gave up. And a friend of mine, Lisa McCall, was like, you need to talk to Al Bell. I was like, who's Al Bell? And for those who don't know who Al Bell is, at the beginning of soul music,
Mm.
there were 3 record companies: Philly International, uh, Motown, Berry Gordy,
Hmm.
Stax Records with Al Bell. And the year before, he put out a record called Deuce, Daisy Dukes,
Right.
and it went gold. And I was like, that's perfect, because he would know what to do with this. And give him a call. It took him about 2 weeks to call me back. And I was like, look, dude, we have a hit record. I'm in the hottest clubs in the country in Atlanta. You know, the home of Bobby Brown and Babyface and LaFace Records and Crisscross and Jermaine Dupri.
All the
Everybody's
biggies.
yeah. Deion Sanders, the Falcons back. You know what I mean? All Dominique Wilkins, they all have co-signed on this.
Right.
You need to sign us. He was like, okay. I was like, don't play with me, man. You haven't even heard the record. And I'll never forget these words he said. He said, brother, I don't have to hear the record. I hear it in your spirit.
Hmm.
Let's agree to agree and get this thing moving. And I was like, all right. And gave my 2 weeks notice at Magic City. My last day was Freaknik weekend. Signed a
Hmm.
messed up record deal. And in a month and a half, tag team was platinum. The rest is history.
That's amazing. So you covered the second question I had is like how to Whoomp, there it is, come to be, and that's the
Mm-hmm.
thing that's amazing, and of course how tag team eventually got developed into this. So it's obvious you're still doing music, right? You're still
Nope.
not
I have,
no.
I have, so let me explain it like this. Music is a part of me,
Hmm.
right? But I don't do music anymore. But I do music because my skills, so everything that I have to do that's music, far from just making a song,
Hmm.
has helped me and developed me, which is, you know, putting our show together in a lively way. That musical prowess has helped me more than anything, because we used to do shows and, our dilemma is we only have one song that's a hit.
Yeah.
We got tons of other songs. But when you're playing a song and then stop and then playing another song to stop, people don't really know your music. So your show lags a little. And we came with the premise that the music can't stop ever, just like a
Right.
club, like DJing.
Yeah.
That's how our show is. Our show is relentless, up tempo beats that don't stop, and we mix our old songs in with the new song, with the up tempo songs. And now, even though people don't know those songs, they are still forced to dance because the beats we mixed them with are break beats and things that we've made up, and it just flows.
And then right in the middle, you drop, Whoomp, there it is, and everybody, oh yeah, it's
Yeah, everybody could see before, everybody waiting to whom there is, but now it's an experience, it's entertainment.
right.
It's I call it the 90s nostalgic experience, right?
Right.
And we take you all the way through. And when we take you all the way through, there's a little sing along, there's some birthday stuff, there's all the entertaining things that somebody would do to entertain in a show. And by the time we get to Whoomp, they're
Hmm.
ready. They've been ready. They're wore out. Then Whoomp comes on, they just lose their mind. And we do 50 shows a year. We're on 2 tours. And that comes from all the lessons and the hard work that's been put in back in the day. All the DJ, all the changing the lights, all the fixing the sound systems, all the reading of the crowds. I read crowds better than anybody. So
Mm.
people ask me all the time, well, what, Steve is like, what we doing tonight? And I was like, I won't know till I see the crowd. Once I see it, then I don't just jump into DJ mode. And when I'm in DJ mode, it is imperative that, if you ever went to clubs back in the day, if a DJ played the wrong record, the dance floor just evaporated.
Oh, I know. I've been
But you
there. I
gotta
used to be one
have a
myself.
couple
Yeah.
songs that you can dump right in and get them
Yeah.
back, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of that's how I flow with everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm bringing that prowess to the start of my motivational speaking career, because people are like, well, what do you talk to? Because I'm in a group called NSA, National Speakers Association.
Right.
And I went to the convention a couple of weeks ago, and they're like, well, what do you talk about? And I was like, I can't really answer that, right? Because I have to see the crowd. I have to know who I'm talking in front of before I can even know how I'm going to motivate them, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And everything leads to something else. The reason I got so good at that, because that's how I deal with podcasts or blogs. I can read, and I pretty much, you have asked me 2 questions and I've given you the answers for about 10. You see
You're
what I'm
right.
saying?
Yes.
So I know how I'm good at this. So I know,
Right.
I kind of know by your first question where you want to go with it. But then after I start going with it, I can lead you where I want to lead you, because everything I say is compelling, because I have the experience to prove it. I have the wisdom to pass it on to other people. And I have the forethought of thinking differently to come up with practical solutions for people in everyday life that they have never thought of. And
So,
usually my podcasts end up being motivational seminars, because I'm
mm-hmm.
talking about life. And all of this doesn't happen. Whoomp, there it is the genesis and the nucleus of all of this, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
But, me talking about life, our path was not easy. We were in a 20-year lawsuit or legal battle. I mean, it's been hard, you know what I mean? But, they got a term, trauma, through trauma, there's treasure, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just vowed every time that I made a mistake, or any time that something didn't go my way, or life threw me a curveball, that it would never happen again, because my whole goal now is just not to get blindsided by anything. And if I can get out of my own way and do that, then everything else is just hard work. So that's why, for me, you asked the question about old school rap. And it's fascinating, because I'm an SEO specialist. I'm digital marketing. SEO is the ability to, get your page on the first page of results in, Google, if you're a business or if you got a website or whatever. And the key to that is picking the right keywords that are relevant to whatever you're doing. And when I just go down this deep rabbit hole of old school rap, there's just a lot of information, but there's a lot of information that's lacking. So I love to tell my story, because I have historical facts and historical experiences that nobody else has. And people just can't forget that the reason you get to make rap songs is because we paved the path to make rap songs, because we used those 4 tracks, and we beat on those pot and pans and played the flute and did scratching and made the music sound like horror shows and all that. You know what I mean? We paved the way for that.
Yeah.
Now, I don't need any accolades for that, but people love historical fact. People love things that they didn't know, stories that they've always, because everybody only knows what they know. And when you correct them on things, it just blows them away. So I love old school hip hop, old school rap. That's me. I'm the embodiment of it.
Absolutely. It sounds like that from the way you're speaking. The other thing too is that it's more, as you pointed out, it's more than just Whoomp. It's an embodiment of lifestyle and interaction with people, and getting them to go along the journey with you. And that's really fantastic. I think that's great that you're able to do that. Even bringing to the fore that history in the music that you do in your shows. And one of the things I'm wondering too is like, obviously your name's out there. When you go out on the street, do you still get a lot of people coming up to you and saying, "I know who you are"?
Never.
Never. So
I don't
it's
care about that.
right.
I learned that from DJing because I would
Right.
watch people. I would watch artists,
Hmm.
record blow up, and I watched them come into the club and act like stars and treat everybody like crap. And then I would watch them fall. And when you falling, the very people you treated like crap revel in your demise. And a lot of people don't come back from that. And then they spend their whole lives chasing what they had.
Hmm.
My father sat me down early. I already knew this, but he sat me down early. He said, "I'm proud of you. You know, you're doing your thing, but when it all fades, don't chase it. Don't chase it because it just keep you going down that rabbit hole. You'll never get it back. This is about a point in time. Keep moving forward." And I was like, yeah, whatever, Pop. But I always remembered that, right? Because my father was a great man. He had a doctorate, PhD, the whole nine. And the lesson I learned from him is that when there was a transition from books to computers, he didn't make the transition. Saying, and I had an experience like that too when vinyl turned to CDs. I was like, I'll never mix with a damn CD, right? But then I started watching it. I started watching life pass me by. I was like, oh, let me start learning how to DJ with CDs. I'm about to be obsolete. And that's what happens to people. And I try to tell people, as long as you breathe, and there's nothing you can't do. So keep learning. I feel like my life has just started. And I'm
Hmm.
55.
Right.
Because I'm learning how to do things I never would have attempted to learn how to do. And I coined a phrase called learn how to learn. It's not enough just to learn. You got to learn how to learn. And I've been doing that all my life, right? It's like I wanted to learn how to build a company. So I said, okay, learn how to run your life like a company. And that's what I did. And I became masterful at it. I do my own bookkeeping. I'm a licensed commodities broker because I took trauma of getting in a bad record deal and not get the money that we were supposed to get, turn that into, well, I'll never let that happen again. So let me learn about finance. And I
Right.
became a licensed commodity broker, passed the Series 3 exam, and still am a licensed commodities broker to this day. I just don't practice it, right?
Hmm.
Um, when, like I said, in the DJ analogy, I'm not just your DJ. And I tell people that story because even if you're in a dead end job right now, or even if you're at a place where you can't stand the boss or whatever, you're missing the point. If you're in a job, learn how to do everybody else's job. Because one day somebody's going to say, hey, such and such not here. Can anybody? And I'll be like, I got it. And what you've just done is you become invaluable to that
Hmm.
company. So if you know how you do everybody else's job, you can move up, you can get more money, you can get more benefits. Or if you do get let go, your transition to the next bigger thing is that much easier because you have acquired skills that you can put in your toolbox to utilize for the next thing. Everything is about learning and adapting in life. And if you're at a job you can't stand, learn how to do everybody else's job. And I guarantee you, it's a pain in the ass, but it'll be more fulfilling in the end. And that's what I've always done. I try to take one opportunity, turn it into 10. And if two of those pan out, then those two that turn into 10, two of those pan out, and then you just compound interest that through life and you're successful. And that's what I've done. And I had to realize that it ain't for everybody,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
I can't force people to do these things, but I know I can stay on myself to do it. And, for me, it's nothing but work. I've never not known work because my parents worked me like a dog. We had
Right.
chores, we had the whole nine. Had a paper route, worked at the ice cream store, worked at the AV department, worked at Mile High Stadium in Denver selling Pepsis. Like, I don't fear work. So whatever needs to be done gets done. You just have to figure out how to do it differently. You don't have to do it how everybody else does it. I do it differently.
And also what I got from the sense of the way your tenor is with regard to everything in life is be humble as well. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and that humility definitely shines through because, like you said, you're not one of these guys, as you mentioned before, going into the club, hey, look at me, I'm a star. You just do your thing. And that's a marvelous thing. If you had somebody in front of you who is just getting into whatever, what would be the first key thing you would say to them to do is? What would you tell them to do or not to do?
It is so simple. It is so simple. When people call me every year about commencement, right? Do you have a message for the youth? And I simply tell them, join an organization. Because organizations are, join an organization, society, or association. Because every profession has one or 10, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you join an organization, you have people in that organization that have been doing and proud of their profession and masterful at it for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And they can't wait to run their mouth and tell you how to do things. And they have all the resources. They have everything you need. And I find when I'm a part of about 20 organizations, because when I want to learn something, the first thing I do is join an organization, because in 2 days I can figure out if that's going to work or if it's for me or not. Right. And half of them I can't get to because it's a lot. But you join an organization and the world opens up to you, and it don't cost you much. It costs you $100, $200 at the most for a membership. Then you get in there and then you go to the forums and you go and you ask as many questions as you can. You talk to all the coordinators and they help you, because that's what the organization is there for, to help you and to help the profession be more fluid, be better, and be more advanced and deal with the things that life is, how the industry is changing. So like one of the first organizations I joined was an organization called IEBA. Now, IEBA is the International Buyers Association of America, or International Entertainment Buyers Association. And what that is, I was trying to get us on shows and I was trying to get us on tour. And everybody's like, well, you only got one song, DC, so we don't know. And I'm like, yeah, it was Whoomp, there it is. What better song to have? But they were giving me the runaround. So I joined this organization, and in concert buying, there's a hierarchy. You have your buyers, then you have your venues, your venue owners, and then you have your big time promoters, which is Live Nation or iHeartRadio. Then you have your mom and pops, which are the people who were telling me I couldn't do it because I only have Whoomp, there it is. And then you have your managers, then you have me. Joining that organization effectively cut out everybody in the middle. And I go to their conference, 5,000 strong in Nashville. Me and Chubby Checker, the only black dudes in there. I got a big Whoomp, there it is t-shirt on. And I started introducing myself to people. And people knew who I was. Like, I know who you are. I was like, well, we got a 90s clean nostalgic show, and I'm just trying to see if there's anything, we could do here. But when I said clean, their ears perked up. And that organization has helped me to always be able to get shows for Tag Team. Right? We can tour forever off of one song. And because there's always going to be somebody who needs that fit. That's SEO. I was trying to find the people, I was trying to do social media. It's like, okay, I'm going to carpet bomb and hit as many people as I can because I want people to like me.
Right.
I always tell people, you don't need 100,000 people to like you. You just need 100 people to pay you.
Yeah.
And join that organization, I'm in front of the people who need me because I only have one song.
Right.
Not despite that I have one song. And that's how you got to live life. And that's what SEO is. And that's what I do with everything. So when somebody tells you you can't do something and somebody tells you, it's not possible, don't believe them, because if you join an organization, you'll find out how to do it. And the thing that you thought might be what that industry is about has nothing to do with what you thought it was.
Well, we are running a little out of time, but I really appreciate all of you've told us here today. I think this is great stuff. We'll make sure to get this on one-on-one candidconversations.blogspot.com. And I'll also make sure we get links to your site. And I really appreciate you joining in today and speaking with me about where things have been going and how you've been living your life and the way that you've done the things you've done. I really appreciate that a whole lot.
And I appreciate you having me here, man. Thank you. And you have a great day.
All right. Nice chatting with you.
Yeah,
DC, it's been a pleasure. Take care.
you got it.